We're up here on behalf of Mosaic.
We wanted to do something in assembly that wasn't as presentational and was more conversational, and we wanted to give you guys a little glimpse into what some of our meetings sometimes look like.
So we're up here interviewing some students from the Nobles community about just their experience about being multicultural at Nobles, so I hope you enjoy. Sorry. We're just going to say our name, our pronouns, and our favorite song, our ethnicity, and ethnicities we've been mistaken for. Sorry, that was kind of a mouthful.
Hi, I'm Phoebe. My pronouns are she, her. I am a quarter African American and 3/4 white, and I get mistaken for white a lot. And my favorite song is probably Heaven by Niall Horan.
Hi, I'm Alex, class 2. I'm half Korean, half Puerto Rican. I get mistaken for full Korean a lot.
I'm Laura, she, her. I'm Hispanic Lebanese, and I think I just get mistaken for, not that, just anything but that.
I'm Olivia, I'm class 1. My pronouns are she, her, and my favorite song at the moment would be Ends of the Earth by Lord Huron. And my ethnicity is biracial. I'm part African American and part Caucasian, and I've been mistaken for being Brazilian.
I'm Kai, he, him pronouns. My favorite song is probably The Party and the After Party by The Weeknd. I'm Irish and Vietnamese, and I've been mistaken for like Eastern European, and a couple others.
I'm Toby, class 1. I'm white and part Puerto Rican. No one assumes I'm Puerto Rican, so I guess I've just been mistaken that I'm just white. He, him. Favorite song, T-Shirt Weather by Circa Waves.
Hi, I'm Elisa, class 1. My pronouns are she, her, and my current favorite song is Here's Where the Story Ends by the Sundays. And I'm half Brazilian, and I get mistaken for Spanish, Portuguese, white, all the above. Okay, so we're gonna start with some questions. Our first question that we have is, how has being multiracial affected your time at Nobles?
I think when I was a freshman, I went to affinity spaces, and I think a very important person for me was Ava Neal, Kai's sister. Shout out. I think she was really great because I think I was a little 15-year-old, and I didn't really know any upperclassmen at Nobles, and I think going to affinity spaces really made me feel like I was a part of the Nobles community, and I think I had a lot of mentors.
Kind of second question. Have you and your siblings or family ever been questioned if you were actually related?
Okay, I'll start this one off. My mom and I are basically twins, but she's a few shades darker than me and has brown eyes. And my sister and I look exactly like, she's a little taller. And every time we travel, just the three of us, if my dad at work or something, we get stopped at immigration at least 20 times as I grew up, and would be interviewed to make sure that we weren't getting kidnapped. So that was interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people would my mom is white, and we would travel together, and they'd be like, "Are those your kids?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
For me, I'm definitely not people don't question the validity of my siblings and my relationship, but we're treated very differently, I would say. My brother, he has much darker skin than I do, and there was this one time when I used to work in this bakery, and my brother was hanging out inside of the store, and this white woman comes in, and she audibly gasps when she sees my brother. And she's like, oh my God, you're so dark. You must like tan so easily. And then she asks him where he's from, which is a question that we get a lot. But then when she goes over to me, she like starts showing me pictures of her grandson for whatever reason. But it's like really random, but it sort of goes to show like how we're treated differently in public, where my brother was sort of treated as like more of an other. And she like questioned his identity, whereas like I was sort of treated more as like one of their own, even though like we have exactly the same racial makeup, but just because of our skin tone or like perceived.
Yeah, I mean, kind of adding on to that, I've had a similar experience. My sister, Lauren, she was here last year. She's darker than I am. And when we were younger, they used to think that my mom was her babysitter. And it was just a little awkward and weird. But moving on to the next question, how has the college process changed your perspective on your ethnicity?
I can take this one. So I never thought too much about my identity before the college process, but I started doing a lot of writing about like being part Puerto Rican and white. So I think there's like some pressure from colleges to like write about your identity, which I think is fine because I think it was fun for me. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of adding on to that, I think I've had, again, kind of a similar experience. I never really thought about it too much until I just started writing about it, and I honestly think that's kind of helped me more come to terms with my identity and how being multiracial is kind of rare. But I honestly think writing about it in the college process has been, obviously I haven't started writing essays, I'm a junior, but like thinking about it.
Yeah, I think I went through the recruiting process, and I feel like that wasn't really a factor for me, which I thought it was going to be, but it just never came up, which I think was really interesting.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of pressure, like from the schools that you apply to, even like without affirmative action. There's ways that colleges get around it. So I feel like it's still a factor, and you're still kind of pressured from schools to either rely on it or kind of hide it. Like, I know with a lot of Asian American students, sometimes it's actually a disadvantage to reveal that part of your identity, which is ridiculous. Like, you shouldn't be hiding any part of your identity, but also you shouldn't have to, exemplify or highlight any part of your identity to rely on getting in somewhere that you deserve to get into anyways.
I haven't started the college process. I'm a sophomore, but I think kind of there is a pressure to definitely sort of fabricate this story for yourself that you present to colleges. And I do think that's sort of harder as a multiracial person. Just fitting sort of the complexity of your identity kind of into this one story is definitely a lot harder.
Alright. Do you feel like you have to code switch at Nobles? And if so, how and why?
My sister and I, we speak French to each other, and we usually do so in slang, and that's called féminin. When I speak to teachers, it's more formal, and often, since we're speaking at Nobles, I'll switch my demeanor, which would be maybe more relaxed, to English, which then becomes more formal. In the same way with my family, because there's that Spanish part, we speak Spanish at home, and it's a lot more relaxed. When I'm back at school, or when I'm in a community that is mostly English dominated, that becomes more formal.
Oh, sorry. Okay. What message would you guys like to send to people in the audience about, being? Wait, I just botched that. What message would you like to send people with the multicultural background at Nobles?
I can take this one. I think to all multicultural people at Nobles or outside of Nobles, I just, actually, especially at Nobles, I want to encourage you guys to come to Mosaic, because sometimes it's discussions like these, but a lot of times it's something a little bit more lighthearted. and we play a bunch of games. And we also know that there's a lot of pressure, whether on like choosing what affinity group you go to. So if you're, African American and Latinx, then you might have trouble deciding on which affinity group you're going to go to for that period. So if you don't really want to have to make that decision, Mosaic is a perfect place for that. But also for all Mosaic people, or multiracial people, sorry, I think it's just really important to not sacrifice any part of your identity, whether it's in the college process or beyond, like, code switching. I think being your true, authentic self everywhere is really important.
Thanks, guys.